Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. One of the things we like to talk to about around here is a little bit of the pendulum swinging back, right? To give you a little bit of hopium in the dark seas that a lot of time are going on. A lot of people think that everything's black pill and it's only going to get worse and yada, yada, yada. And I posit that that is not true. Because, boys and girls, we've seen the Walt Disney Company lose billions of dollars over the last few years. We've seen the agenda-driven storytelling fail time and time again, whether it be Star Wars, or we've seen this kind of nonsense with things like Ahsoka or The Acolyte, or, of course, the absolutely abysmal Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Or you can go over to Marvel, where you can talk about Secret Invasion, or any of the other, or, of course, the wonderful She-Hulk series that we all had the pleasure of enjoying out there, or things like Echo, that nobody's heard from in a very long time. And it's one of them situations where people are generally rejecting this kind of nonsense. They are not going along with the kind of agenda that Disney has been pushing, whether it be through their Disney animation, through Star Wars or Marvel or any of the rest of it. And we have more evidence of that today, boys and girls, because ladies and gentlemen, Disney World's cast member store is overflowing with unsold Wish and LGBTQ pride merchandise. Yes, boys and girls, they doubled down on so much of this nonsense and so much of this gear trying to push forward their storytelling, once again wasting many more of their dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, on stuff that they can't even pass off to their cast members at a giant discount. Because yes, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, whether it be a Marvel fan, a Star Wars fan, or just a general Disney fan, everyone is rejecting this agenda-driven nonsense. It is failing miserably. It is costing them billions of dollars, and now there's a million more on top of it with this very article. So we're going to check out this article from thatparkplace.com, getting all the juicy details, and show you the pictures, the evidence. There are cases of this pride merchandise just sitting on the floor trying to be sold off at a massive discount. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we're inching our way closer and closer to 1,300, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Does this surprise you in any way, shape, or form? Does this give you a little bit more of that hopium? Does this give you a little bit of a white pill out there to see that the future is bright because people are rejecting this? Or do you think it's just all about that's just showing even more signs of how full-blown on the board with the message Disney is? Let me know what you think about all that down below. So from thatparkplace.com and our dear sweet Marvin Montanaro, Disney World's cast member store overflowing with unsold Wish and LGBTQ pride merchandise. Fans reject woke Disney through films and theme parks. And don't forget their Disney Plus streaming services as well. When unsold Walt Disney World merchandise is clogging the shelves, Disney removes it from the stores and sends it to one of two places. Some of the unsold merchandise goes to the Disney Character Warehouse store at Orlando's 2 premium outlet malls where it's sold at a discount. The rest of it goes to a store called Cast Connections. This is a store specifically for Disney cast members. You literally have to be an employee or be with someone to even get access to this place. So I'd imagine the discounts are pretty drastic. It's very similar to Walmart has something like this as well, so that their employees can go in there and get stuff that's on drastic discount. And now this is just the first picture of many, boys and girls, but look at that, an entire rack, almost an entire row right there of nothing but Pride Disney jackets that are now on a drastic discount, going to be sold at a loss, to Disney employees, boys and girls. Cast Connection is where you'll find a lot of unsold apparel, toys, decorative items, and even furniture from the resort hotels, all offered at huge markdowns for employees of the Disney company. To shop at a Cast Connection, you must be a Disney cast member or be accompanied by one. On a recent trip to Cast Connection, accompanied by a cast member, I spotted something very interesting. And as you can see right here, I mean, look at this. Look at this picture back here, right? Let's go through this. The entire store was awash in merchandise from the failed Disney animated film Wish and Disney's massive LGBTQ pride celebration from the month of June. Noticed how there was a lot less of that, though, this year from a lot of these major corporations. Not so many Twitter profiles got changed to a pride flag this year. Did you notice that? I wonder if maybe we're actually having an impact in the fallout of Bud Light, and so many of the rest of these companies actually is making a difference. Yes, we are winning, boys and girls. The sheer volume of stock shown in the accompanying images tells a very specific story about the merchandise Disney is offering and its fan base's collective willingness to buy it. And I mean, you can see it right here. Disney Marvel right here. This is Star Wars Marvel. You've got the pride flags with the Captain America stuff on here. You got more of this going down here. All of it. Just, I mean, it's literally overflowing on these racks. They have crammed as much onto there as they possibly can. Same thing. Giant Disney pride sweater. The entire rack of them right there. I mean, this thing is full to the brim. Same thing with it. And honestly, this picture, this one right here, this shirt's just hideous to begin with, besides the whole pride nonsense. And then, is that a pentagram I noticed on there on that picture somewhere? I wonder what that could possibly be. Oh, nothing like that. I'm sure nothing like that. But look, Disney Marvel, all of it, pride, all sitting on the shelves, racked to the nines. So Wish was meant to be a huge success for Disney Company that ended up being one of the most spectacular failures. The animated film is set to mark 100 years of Disney animation. The original pitch was reportedly an origin story for the classic Disney song When You Wish Upon a Star. However, according to Film Threat's Chris Gore and Alan Ng, things went off the rails with the more extreme political voices within the Disney Company started to inject modern-day activism in both the film's story and its staff. And this information was relayed to Gore and Ng by a former animation star. Basically, the guy goes in here and says that, look, the pressure from management to hire people based on their sex, their ethnicity over talent caused a lot of friction. Many of the talented animators of the past, Disney's greats, left in frustration, leaving behind a culture where the remaining people are being suppressed and are afraid for their jobs. The anonymous source who reached out to us used the word activist to describe what was going on and how such people were openly opting to overthrow the traditional animators and talents in the company. Right here, a bunch of creatures. This is an entire basket full of that little goat, whatever buddy I guess she was supposed to have in Wish. I never saw it. I must, like the majority of people out there, I never saw it. This was supposed to mark the centennial, the 100-year anniversary of Disney animation. And they let the activists go in there and destroy and damage that legacy. And guess what? The fans and the audiences completely rejected it, and nobody bought the merch. And if anyone even has the slightest inkling about how the business model works for this kind of stuff and the merchandising money, that is where you make a lot of that on the back end, if not the majority of it. If anything, ask George Lucas. The movie was a massive critical and commercial flop, earning only $255 million at the box office. This included a measly $64 million from the domestic U.S. box office. No one in the U.S. wanted to go see that. $64 million? Deadpool and Wolverine did better than that on just their opening weekend. Holy cow. And once again, look at all of the Wish toys. All of it. All over the place. Disney's celebration of the LGBTQ Pride Month goes for an entirety June every year, with special photo ops all around the parks, all the apparel, keychains, and all of that. But look at this. Cases of these backpacks left over, box after box stacked on there, made in China, mind you, as well. Shout out to the Chi-Coms and Disney's buddy-buddy relationship with that. They'll gladly make this stuff, but they reject it as well. And look at that. It's the exact same thing. All of it is pushed out and rejected. Cases of this stuff. Disney was extremely aggressive with the merchandise for both Wish and Pride, which many saw as the company doubling down and investing more in woke ideology. However, the fact that so much of the merchandise is currently warming pegs in cast connection shows a large-scale rejection of merch lines by Disney's customers. And look at this. Pride Star Wars Pride stuff out there. And as my dear sweet friend Spartacus said, I wouldn't say warming pegs. I would say it's more sitting cold, like a cold, dead franchise, i.e. Star Wars, and Disney has done it. Disney is the one that killed it, and stuff like this, trying to shove all of this Pride, LGBTQ, alphabet soup, mafia style stuff down the throats of fans does not work, because unlike in their dreams of their communist utopia, they can't force us to actually buy any of this nonsense. And now it's costing them hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're selling it at a loss to Disney employees. And guess what? The cast members aren't going to be running out to clear all of this stuff off the shelves either, boys and girls, because any of them that wanted it, I promise you, bought it at full price. So that begs the question, will the House of Mouse abandon its push for identity politics in its films and theme parks in search of the almighty dollar? Or have Bob Iger and his ilk only begun to fight? And that's the question. As of right now, the rumor mill says that a lot of the activists inside of Marvel, the people that would have been responsible for these Captain America LGBT pride ears, have been fired. The people responsible for injecting this kind of nonsense into Marvel, at least from what we hear, has been fired. Now, as to say the rest of the Disney Corporation, from what we've heard from Star Wars, is it's basically DOA. There's no saving that. It's not coming back. There's not going to be any change over there to give you any good quality stuff again. And it sounds like it might be the same over at animation. I don't know how many more failures it's going to take for Bob Iger before he does the same thing that Marvel has done. Because Kevin Feige's legacy and his ego is more important than any of your agenda nonsense. And he will gladly set your agenda on fire and throw it out the window and fire all of you to make sure that he does still go down as the most revered Hollywood studio head in history. Bob Iger, on the other hand, we're not entirely sure. As long as you're making money, we'll see what happens. But this isn't making money. And if nothing else, whether Disney changes or not doesn't actually matter at the overall end of the scope of things. Because no matter how hard Disney tries to push this, a top-down solution to change the culture never has and never will work. It didn't work during the time of Josiah, and it doesn't work the time nowadays with modern-day Disney and the rest of the people trying to push this stuff. It fails time and time again. And that's the hope that you should all hold on to. The culture is swinging back. People are rejecting this nonsense, and it's costing these companies billions of dollars. Like I said, look how quiet June was. Did Disney double down? Sure! But by all means, let them. It has now cost them hundreds of millions of dollars because Disney fans, Star Wars fans, and Marvel fans do not want this nonsense. We never have, we never will, and this will continue to cost you billions of dollars. Because at the end of the day, common sense and the common sense still wins. The Lord is still in heaven. And this evil, demonic nonsense that Disney has been pushing is rejected by the actual modern audience. Enjoy all of those losses. Disney, you did it to yourself.